every time I post a budgeting video, whether it's about how to save £1,000 in 30 days or how to budget if you're on minimum wage, somebody always comments something like, oh, that must be nice for you, or I don't earn that much. And honestly, I get it, because I've been on both sides. I've had the 100k of debt after my marriage fell apart, and to now how I'm just about feeling financially okay. But here's the thing. In 2025, people earning what used to be considered good money is no longer the same thing. They are still not feeling comfortable. So today we are asking the big one: how much do we really need to earn to be comfortable? And spoiler alert, it is probably not the number that you're thinking of. If you were to ask 10 different people what comfortable feels like, or how much a comfortable take-home wage was, you would probably get 10 completely different answers. Some would say 30k and they would be happy. Some would say, well, even 100k isn't enough right now. But this is what the numbers are showing. Comfort isn't a salary anymore. It is about what is left after the essentials. Right now, those essentials that we're talking about have literally exploded. Average rent outside of London, somewhere nearby me, is around about £1,300 a month. In London, that's more like 2k. Energy bills are still sitting roughly at around about £1,700 a year. But that is double what it was just a few years ago. And I don't know about you, but my salary hasn't doubled in the same way to be able to take care of it. And then food inflation, that's gone up by 21% since 2021. That basically means that £40 shop that I used to be able to do quite comfortably per week is now going to cost me 50 quid. And it's not like even the more pricey items that are having this impact. It's things like basic ingredients like your butter, like your cheese, even chocolate bars have shot up. I very rarely buy an individual chocolate bar because every time I look at the cost, I can't quite believe the numbers that I'm seeing. Because if it's not increasing in price, then it's the shrinkflation that gets them, where they shrink the chocolate bar down and still either charge you the same price or charge you a few pence more. So it isn't just the essentials, and chocolates up there and things like steak, that's flying through the roof as well. It's no longer becoming an occasional treat that we could justify or put into our budget, because it's now becoming so much more out of reach. And it's not just the big bills though either, is it? It's those little things that we used to be able to justify and get away with. It's the things like your Friday night takeaway that used to be £20, it's suddenly £35. A little treat, calling for a coffee or a snack after the school run, £8. Minimum wage isn't much more than that. I would have to work for a long time to be able to justify that £8 spend. Kids clubs that were £5 a session have gone up to £8, £10 in some places. And don't even get me started on school trips. I've just forked out just almost 20 quid on a free museum trip, which tells me that the cost that they are paying for is the coach, the transport, just, a few miles away, which was insane. But we want them to have those experiences. We want them to enjoy them, but it's just becoming much harder to do. And it's not just that kind of travel. It's your own personal travel. Petrol's starting to creep back up again. I've been to London so many times in the last few weeks for travel, and that is becoming so much harder to do as well. £121 is what I was looking for a open return just back up to Wigan in the northwest. It was just staggering. And on that same train, there were still people sat there without a seat. They were sat on the floor in the corridors. They paid all that much money and there was no chair. How is that reasonable? Simple family days out, tickets, parking, the actual activity itself, you're looking easily at £60 in some instances. So when people are saying, I'm earning more, but I'm still feeling poor, they're not exaggerating. They're just describing what all of us are living through. Now, there's been a lot of research done about this. It's often in the news, often in social media, often in magazines, newspapers, and they've come up with this concept that is called the minimum income standard. And this is to do with how much you actually need to be able to live a decent life, not a luxurious life, not a flashy life, just an average, decent life without having to worry about the wolf at the door. Now, this is what they found. For a single adult living by themselves outside of London, they would need about £28,000 a year. That's before tax. A couple with 2 kids living in a similar kind of location would need £70,000 a year pre-tax. But a single parent with 2 kids, waving over here, would need £60,000. Disclaimer, I don't earn £60,000, but I have 2 kids and I've still got to make it work, which is exactly why I have this channel. It's why I try and explain how I still get to enjoy the great things in life and have fun and do all the quirky things that I do, but having to do it on a budget and still feel good, still feeling okay. That's not champagne and caviar. It's not that steak night that I used to occasionally love to treat myself to. That is literally simple meals, paying your standard bills, your rent, gas, electric, all those things, the clothes that the kids need, and maybe even the occasional trip to the cinema. That is not for holidays. It's not for a savings buffer. It's not for an emergency fund. It is not for Christmas and all those other fantastic things that we know happen anyway, or we want them to happen. But that's not being considered in this cost. So when middle income families say they're still feeling broke on, a good wage, then that is exactly why. Now, if you live in London, brace yourself. That comfortable figure jumps to about £47,000 per year for a single adult. And that is just scraping by. When your rent is £2,000 and your travel is £250, and every meal costs more and more and more, that salary barely stretches. According to official data, Londoners on that kind of salary have around about £30 a month for eating out. £30. That's like one trip to Pizza Express with a Coke, if you're lucky. So even though those numbers are saying comfortable, it's actually really surviving, but without the panic. Now here in the Northwest, things look a little bit cheaper on paper, but it's not that simple. The average rent for a 2-bed house is around about £850, £900 a month. Sounds miles better than London, right? But the average full-time income here is just £31,000. So whilst, you might be saving on rent, you're actually earning a lot less. So let's break that down, because this is where comfortable gets real. A single parent on £31,000 a year with a take-home pay of around £2,000 is rent for £900, council tax at £150, energy at £140, water at £40, internet and mobile around £60, food and toiletries at £400, fuel or public transport around about £120, kids clubs and extras at school around about £100, clothing, birthdays, emergencies are £100. That's £1,910 gone before savings, before holidays, before treats, meaning that you are left with £90 a month if nothing breaks. Now let's compare that to London. So say you're earning that £47,000, so you're taking home £2,900 a month. But if your rent's £2,000 and your travel is £250, meaning that the rest also costs more too. Effectively, you're still left with that £100 circa buffer. So technically both households are comfortable, but neither feels it in real life. And the truth is that groceries and bills and kids' costs and kids' childcare don't care about your postcode. A loaf of bread costs the same in Wigan as it does in Wimbledon, Liverpool, London. So living in the Northwest helps a bit, but it doesn't fix the bigger problem. The bigger problem is that most people's normal lives has outpaced people's actual pay. I know families around here on a joint income of 50 to 55k, and they're still having to pick between taking the kids on holiday or upgrading a noisy rattling car. And they're not being careless. They're just trying to stay afloat. So when people say, if I earned more, I would feel more comfortable, it's worth remembering, whether you're in London or whether you're in Lancashire, the maths is telling the same story. Comfort isn't really about location anymore. It's about control. Because even people earning 70, 80, 100k aren't even feeling comfortable anymore. It's that sneaky thing that I've talked about before on this channel called lifestyle creep. You earn more, so you upgrade. A nicer area, a bigger home, better car. But those better things come with bigger bills. And suddenly your comfort zone costs way more than it used to. So 100k might look like the best dream from the outside, but once you're there, it doesn't always feel like it. So here's what I've learned. There isn't a magic number, because comfort isn't about your income, take-home pay. It's about control. It's covering your bills without panic. It's saying yes to an ice cream without guilt. It's having £20 left and choosing exactly how you want to spend it, what you want to do with it. When I budget now, I'm not trying to be rich. I'm trying to be calm. And that calm doesn't come from earning more. It comes from knowing where my money's going. So I would love to know, what does comfortable look like for you right now? Is it a number? Is it a feeling? Drop it down in the comment section, because this is a conversation we need to keep having. And if you found this video helpful, I would absolutely love it if you go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like, and maybe consider subscribing, because it is absolutely free and makes my day and means that I can absolutely continue to make videos just like this one for you. Have yourself an amazing day, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.